2 o'clock, I go into a meeting, Ben Bernanke starts speaking, I come out, stocks are tanked. What the hell did he say?
He said that he's not going to get out the helicopter and drop a bunch of money. People keep expecting Bernanke to do all these wild and crazy things to fight deflation, but he's saying right now that he doesn't want to pull the trigger until he absolutely has the monster right up in his face.
So this guy just really can't win, right? I mean, so
right.
At some point it's that he was doing too much, now he's not doing enough.
He's walking a big tightrope there where he's afraid of setting off a huge inflationary spiral, even though everyone can see that there's big unemployment and it's going to be years before the economy recovers to any extent. At the same time, as a central banker, he knows that the 70s did not turn out all that well, and he doesn't want to go down that road again where they just keep inflating and inflating and inflating and stimulating and stimulating. So he keeps hoping that he can kind of walk this middle line and things will slowly recover, and then they can start pulling out of all these programs.
Did the forecast get worse from the last time we heard the Fed chairman speak?
No, he actually referenced those figures. He spoke to Congress today. He presented those figures to Congress, essentially. But the market keeps getting more and more nervous. The market keeps seeing more signs of deterioration. And so a lot of people were hoping that Bernanke would say something today like that he was going to take steps that would cause the banks to start lending, something like stopping the Fed paying on excess reserves at the Fed. And he didn't say that. And not only did he not say it, but in his testimony, he didn't even mention any of the steps the Fed might take. So he's clearly sending the message to lawmakers, I have a playbook here, but I don't want to use it.
Basically, the economy is still bad, and we're not going to do anything differently than we've said we were going to do.
Right. I think that he's hoping that this is just a soft spot in the recovery, and that later in the year we'll see signs that growth is starting to pick up a little bit again. I think the real problem comes if in 3 months we're seeing even more slowdown signs, and if we actually are getting unemployment going back up to 10%, he's going to be under enormous pressure to do something.
So they've done a lot so far. Has it had any impact?
Well, it's had some impact. I think a lot of people believe it's had impact in the financial markets. I think a lot of people would tell you the fact that Bernanke has been so supportive by pouring free money in, that's why the stock market is still where it is.
So he's lifted the stock market, other asset values, not done so much for jobs?
No, right. Obviously, the unemployment is very high. Bernanke himself said today, this is the worst since the Great Depression in terms of long-term unemployment. People, half of the unemployed have been out for 6 months, which is a huge stress for people. So he knows that there are big problems. I think the problem is that we need to have other policies. We need to have an actual jobs policy in this country if we're going to make inroads on that.
And does that come from the Fed or does it come from the White House?
No, not from the Fed. And I think he would like to see them do more, but it does not seem that the administration is pursuing this very vigorously either.
So is anyone happy by what he said today?
Of course not. Is anyone happy anytime Bernanke speaks? Never.
So he has a horrible job. He was in front of the Senate Banking Committee. Was the mood hostile? Were they grilling him? Were they just want to know what the heck's going on?
A lot of them wanted to talk about the deficit, which underlines how tough his job is, because if he did do something where they committed to buy more assets or to lower rates further or to say that we're going to hold rates down at zero for an even longer period of time, any of these things would start getting people worried about that again, where we have to get on a normal fiscal foot or on a normal footing financially in this country, and we're not doing it. And so, again, there's a lot of pressure, and that's part of the reason why he feels the need to be so hawkish.